live from Huntertown, Indiana. It's Soarin on the air, and today we're going to have a different type of topic. I have Gigi here as my cameraman, and her assistant there, Nonami.
Chewy.
Chewy.
Chewy no Nami.
Yeah, Chewy Nonami. Yeah, so he's very patiently here, supervising. He's wondering what's going on. He's looking into the camera and he's saying, "Who's that?" So continuing with some new topics. Today, I thought we would talk about something a little different, and that is birds smell. Well, duh. Everybody knows that birds smell. Just go out to our vulture pen there on a nice hot day, and it really can stink, But,
True.
Yeah, true. And, but what we're going to talk about is a bird's sense of smell. And let's see, whoops. There we go. Gotta get more help here. Okay. So anyways, we all know that vultures have a sense of smell, and, we know that they can find dead and decaying animals, and they can zero in on them. And we also are aware that things like seabirds, goodbye vulture, okay, seabirds can find things in the sea. They can find krill coming up to the top of the surface of the ocean, where they can find food or decaying fish and things like that. In fact, one of the things that when bird watchers go out on boats to see seabirds, what we do is we throw out old squid oil, sometimes fish oil, popcorn. I don't know why they love popcorn, but they sure do. So we spread that out on the sea, and just that little slick of oil on the ocean will bring in birds from miles and miles away. So we know about that, but we've been studying, scientists have been studying the birds, got a lot of grants out there, so they have a lot of students, grad students looking for get those papers done. So they've made a lot of discoveries about birds and smells. And excuse my hand here. And so okay. So anyways, we knew that they have a sense of smell, and it's very secondary to their other senses, vision and hearing. However, the sense of smell is important in many ways. And let's see. There we go. Okay, so we now know that the sense of smell can be used for communications, for navigation, for predator detection, for social behavior, finding aromatic plants, and they can detect the pheromones from insects. So a lot of important things that we're discovering about the birds and how they use their sense of smell. So things like for navigation, a lot of the seabirds go out and hunt during the daytime, feeding, and then they go back to the islands or wherever they're nesting, and they have to locate the burrow where they have their nest. And so what these birds do is they go back and they go downwind of where the burrows would be, and then they catch the odor from their burrow, and then they can fly back and get to their burrow. It's really neat if you ever get a chance to go to an island where you have a seabird colony that burrows. You sit out there at night and you can watch these birds come flying in, and it looks like they come in non-stop, and they go right into the burrow.
Wow.
So you really have to keep your eyes on it. So they can do that. Let's see, predator detection. It's been found that birds can detect the smells of things like cats, dogs, foxes, wolves, things like that, things that would predate on them. They can detect those smells, and so they tend to avoid them. That's why sometimes, a cat may be walking through a yard or something, and all the birds get excited, even though they haven't seen that cat. They know it's around. They can smell them, so they can detect predators, which I thought was rather amazing. Social behavior. Well, there's a lot of stuff to social behavior. They can detect members of their own family, so they know what each other smells like, just like dogs and cats and things like that. So they recognize the smells. They can detect whether the bird that they're checking out is a male or a female, so which is very important if they want to get together with somebody. So you have that kind of thing. So also they can tell other birds in the flock. So if there's a strange bird that comes into their flock, they can detect that one. So that's kind of one of those interesting social behavior things that I wasn't aware of, but it makes some sense. I always figured that they use vision to do this, but no, they can also use their sense of smell. Let's see, find aromatic plants. This was kind of intriguing. Some birds use aromatic plants or vegetable material to put into their nest to keep insects and things away. So, in fact, I found out that, those ugly old starlings that everybody hates, they actually go out and they get things like cigarette butts that have a smell.
Wow.
And they put them around their nest, and that keeps insects out of their nest. So, pretty clever of them, even though we don't like some of the things they do, but they can be very clever animals. So they'll go after aromatic plants and get those to line their nest or whatever. Uh-oh. I didn't say anything. I just said, uh-oh. Okay.
Chewy had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. So, and then they can also detect the pheromones from insects, and so they can smell those pheromones, and then they can go out hunting for those insects, like, uh-oh. Just put it out there. Okay, so they can detect those insects, from miles away, and then they can fly to that area to grab up the insects, to feed on the insects, and then of course, this would help the farmers out, things like that. So that's why sometimes, I've seen where we've had an insect hatch, all of a sudden birds from everywhere show up, and they're all circling into the hatch that's going up in the air and grabbing off bugs left and right. So that's one of the things they do. Let's see. And I lost my train of thought already, which was not hard. It's kind of like
It's one of those days.
One of those days. Yeah. Oh, the other thing is that they can detect also when insects are attacking vegetation. Vegetation often gives off a defensive odor. They can detect that odor, and then they go to where the vegetation's being attacked, and they'll go after the insects there. So there's a lot of complex things there. Also, the other thing is they can tell whether something's ripe for eating. So we have so you often wonder, like, how does a bird know which berry to eat and which one not to eat? And sometimes we can use our vision to tell, but a lot of times the bird knows that it's there. So some of the interesting things, and we'll get rid of that picture. Okay, is that some of the birds depend quite a bit on odor. Yes, they do.
It's peanut gallery.
Yeah. So anyways, here's a woodcock. Woodcocks are a type of sandpiper that's usually found in wooded or marshy areas, and it uses that long beak to probe down into the ground to get insects, and or I should say crustaceans and invertebrates. That's the word, invertebrates. So the interesting thing about woodcocks is that their nostrils are up here toward the tip of their beak. So that so they're probing around, and they can actually smell the odor of crustaceans that have made tunnels going into the water or into the soil, and they know where to probe. I often wondered if they, how they did, because basically these birds are nocturnal, and so they're always in the dark. And so how do you find wormholes in the dark? Well, you just go and you sniff for them, and so it's one of the interesting things about birds using smell. And of course, I mentioned about berries. How do the waxwings know which berries are ripe and which ones they should just leave alone? And the thing in my backyard, I had an overabundance of honeysuckle one year, and it got quite ripe. And I had about 50 waxwings in my backyard, all eating overripe berries. And there are a lot of waxwings out there. That time, you just go out there, and they would just sit in your hand. They just go like, oh yeah, we're having a good time out here. But they seem to know, and so they know that not just the color, but also they can smell that the food's ripe, or maybe overripe. And And this is a burrow of a storm petrel. That's a seabird. And normally you don't see any activity here during the day because the storm petrel's out feeding. And then when it comes back at night, it uses the smell from the burrow to in the dark to locate that, and goes in. And like I said, it's really amazing. If you can find a burrow and you can sit nearby and just wait, you'll find that the birds come flying in, and it's really, really fast. The only things I've seen faster maybe would be swallows going into a bird box, or let's see, what else has done that? Oh, kingfishers going into a nest hole in the embankment. They'll just fold up the wings and and there must be a landing hook there that got quick and stop real fast. So this is an example of a burrow that would. This is down in New Zealand. So, anyways, how do they detect the smell? Okay, and this is where I get in a lot of trouble. And wish my vet tech was here. so, anyways, and we'll get into this. So this is basically the head of a bird, the eye here located right here, and then this is inside the nostril. The nostrils are normally really close to the skull, up at the skull, at the end of the bill or the beak, except in a few birds where it's actually out there.
There's
like
his nostril.
The tip of the bill, like in the case of the woodcocks. So here we have the eye. Air comes in through the nostril and goes into this cavity. And this cavity is really complex. I try to surprise how much is in there. You got here the main concha, and this main concha here, the air comes in here, and what it does for the birds is it starts warming up the air. If it's cold air, it starts warming it up before it gets down to the lungs. And so on inhaling, warms up the air. Exhaling, it actually removes moisture so that the bird retains moisture and isn't losing all that moisture by breathing out. So that's why, when in the wintertime, you never see their breath, okay?
Yeah.
It's strange. I mean, we've been out there with these birds, and it's just something that occurred to me that you never see the bird's breath in the wintertime, and you can see yours, but you can't see theirs. So anyway, so we have the main concha here. So the air comes in, and then it goes past the olfactory tubercle. Okay. So anyways, goes through here and around. And the thing is, inside here, there's a, we'll get to the big words here. Okay, so let's see, the olfactory epithelium, okay? So that's kind of like the, if you will, the skin or the surface, okay? And then from the, and this lines the nasal concha or the turbinates. And what happens there is that these, there's receptor cells there, and they extend cilia into the concha. So all the air comes through there, and it's filtering out all the molecules from the odors. And so that information all goes into the nervous system, all goes up to the olfactory bulb inside, and which is attached to the brain, and lets the bird know that there's something out there that's edible, something it has to be afraid of, or, that kind of thing. So the whole thing is really, really complex. I was really kind of surprised. I said, yeah, bird smell, and, but I have to research a little bit more about how they use it for communications, but I suspect that communications may be things like letting know that, like in the case of social behavior, they know what sex the bird is that they're next to, what the age is, is it suitable for mating, all kinds of information is transmitted. I often wondered, I go out there in the jungle and I see two parrots sitting on a branch. They look identical, but one's a boy and one's a girl, and I don't know how to tell apart. And I suspect the same thing is true of our owls. We have, owls out there, and, one looks like a boy. So, of course we do the sneaky thing. We go do a DNA test, but, but they don't have the ability, but somehow they know that that's a male, that's a female, and they work it out. They also work out that it's old enough for breeding or not old enough for breeding. It's a kid, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of information that's being transmitted. It's all around us, and a lot of this stuff is invisible to us, But the thing is, it really makes you appreciate what's going on, and so it's one of those things I never thought about too much. And I said one day, I was sniffing. Oh, the other thing about smells, birds, they do have a personal odor to themselves. And typically, that's one of the reasons why they like to take baths, because it helps they clean off. It isn't just the dirt; they also helps they clean off their skin, that kind of thing, and makes them, straightens out the feathers. A good bath, and your feathers all get lined up and straightened out, and you look really nice and good. A raggedy looking bird isn't going to get any dates, I'll tell you. But after they've taken a good bath, they have a nice, really interesting smell. And I know our guys out here, I know we have a few people who like to sniff the birds. And we've been meaning to talk to them about that. but some of the birds really have a really nice odor to them. Particularly babies. Babies always smell good. Just ask any mom, right?
Right.
Yeah. Don't ask any dad. That kind of thing. So this is another thing about animals, that we need to appreciate. Some things that we can learn from them, and it's how much it applies to us, I don't know. But the thing is, we go out there and we enjoy nature and just appreciate what we're seeing out there. When you see those waxwings out there, picking berries off the honeysuckle bushes or whatever, we know why they're doing it. If you happen to go out on a fishing boat and you put out some cod liver oil or something like that on the water, all of a sudden you're going to be surrounded by albatrosses and shearwaters and petrels. And how did they find you? Because you're sitting on that boat, you can see out maybe about 3 or 4 miles, and there's not a bird in sight.
Yeah.
Within minutes, they're right there. And it's just the most fascinating thing. But how do they get back to the burrow at night? They have small little eyes. They don't have eyes like an owl or anything. How do they find that burrow in the night? And it was just fascinating to find out that they, So if you ever get to go to an island where there's nesting seabirds, it's always kind of interesting to watch how these things behave. And of course, the other thing is that there are a number of seabirds that feed at night. Again, they're depending upon the smell to locate where the fish are, the krill, or whatever it is that they're feeding on for the night. So, nobody had any questions.
No questions.
Boy, I bored the heck out of them. But the thing is, let's see, we got this spiffy little book over here. So, anyways, some of that information is in this spiffy little book.
That's a great book. I did get that.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's a great book. For our volunteers, it's $10. For our non-volunteers, it's $15. Helps us out a little bit. Helps out the publisher a little bit. But no, it's a great little book. So if you have an opportunity to get it, that'd be great. So all you volunteers, it's right here in the office, store, whatever this place is, IT center.
It's a combo.
It's a combination thing. So when we get finished doing some cleanup and stuff, And the other thing is, I do want to remind everybody that you can go to soarinhawk.org. We have a new way that you can make donations. So soarinhawk.org. There's a new donation box or donor box, which makes it a lot simpler than we had previously. So you can do that. And we just got in a matching fund check for over $200 from one of our volunteers, matched hours with her employer.
That's
and
great.
We're really appreciative of getting that. So don't forget, if you have an employer that'll do matching funds, go out and contact them. In fact, Mary, who manages our food, just told me I got to go buy some more mice, because we have over 40 birds right now that we're taking care of. Even though we're working hard at getting them back out to the wild, we seem to be doing much better. I think we're up about 40% on the number of birds taken in this year. So we've taken in more birds this year. It's been a bumper crop, I guess, with guys running into trouble or whatever. So
it's been busy.
Yeah, we've had kind of a messed up spring that kind of has slowed things down. I think we have more people out there observing birds, so we're getting more reports of birds that need to be rescued. So that's another thing. So like I said, we're up about 30-40% right now on the number of birds we've taken in. And it does take us a while to get a bird back out. Probably averages somewhere at least 3.5 weeks to process a bird from the time it's brought in. That is not again. Jeez. What did you feed that bird before you got here? Okay.
He didn't eat his breakfast this morning.
He didn't eat his
no,
breakfast, then how
no.
How can you be doing all that?
I don't know.
So, so help us out a little bit, help out the birds. Again, we're a very not-for-profit organization, and but we're getting better. We're getting things moving faster, and but you don't want to talk to me anymore. You probably want to see some birds. So let's go outside. Let me put on my fantastic chapeau, and we'll head out there, and we'll meet up with some of the folks. Oh, look at everybody. Oh. Run, Louie, run.
I'm gone.
So, let's see, who's all out here? Oh, okay. Well, Nicole. Okay. She's one of our regulars. And Nicole here has, this is what, Sherman? Skylar. Skylar, what are you down off your perch for? Okay, you want to talk about Skylar?
Sure. She came in a couple years ago after being hit by a car. She had a wing injury that drooped so badly, we actually amputated part of it so that she wouldn't get hurt even worse. So she can't fly. She has her left wing, most of it is missing because of the amputation. These guys, in general, short-eared owls are ground dwellers. They nest in the ground compared to other birds. You look at her now, we call them short-eared owls, but usually you will not see their ear tufts up, but they're only a small couple short feathers that stick up off the top of her head. These guys hunt small prey, mice, voles, maybe some grasshoppers.
Well, they can take snakes, lizards, anything that's on the ground. Earthworms, if there's a nice rain that brings up the earthworms. So, right?
Yum, yum.
Locusts. Yeah. So they're good for the farmers. They'd be very beneficial. And the reason we don't have as many as we used to is because we've changed our agricultural habits. Now we harvest earlier. A lot of our crops are designed so that we can get 2 harvestings a year. And as such, a lot of their nests get destroyed. So when we see these guys, it's usually in the wintertime. They come down from Canada and northern Michigan down to this area. And the other day there, we were talking about short-eared owls. Were you down there at Kikiyanga?
I was.
Okay. And we said that basically short-eared owls are found worldwide. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's the only naturally occurring owl in the Galapagos. Oh. And in the Galapagos, they're gray to match in with the lava. So, more than you want to know, right?
Yeah.
So, anything else about him? No?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Who's next over here?
Aww.
Oh, look at you, huh?
This is Hawkeye. And she's acting like she wants to take off. Hawkeye is a broadwing. When Hawkeye, she was found as a fledgling. She had fallen out of the nest in a bad storm, windstorm back in 2012. And as she was growing and developing, we discovered that her left eye wasn't developing and maturing as properly as it should. So she's become an education bird. Now we know she's a female because she lays eggs for us periodically. You know, let me turn you. Well, she will eat a small bird, a mouse, things like that. Maybe a little snake. She likes frogs. When frogs get in her mew, she likes that. This is a bird that hibernates.
Hibernates?
I mean,
migrates.
Migrates, sorry. I hibernate. She migrates. So she's not normally found in the winter around here.
Yeah, they go all the way down to either the Caribbean or over to Mexico.
Yeah, I've heard they even go as far as South America.
Yep.
And they catch the coastal waves or they follow the mountain ranges.
Thank you, Billy.
She said you're welcome.
Okay. And here's another one of our regulars. This is Nancy. And Nancy,
Mary.
gosh, I'm sorry. this old gray stuff, you know. This is Mary. That was Nancy. Okay, this is Cheyenne.
Yeah, Cheyenne is our Harris hawk. She came to us from one of our falconers. He was out flying her, hunting, and Cheyenne hit a unprotected power pole, which damaged her feet. You can see she lost one of her talons, and also the tips of her wings had to be amputated. When she hit that power line, she actually fell to the ground, and they think that's probably what saved her, is it like restarted her heart. But she is a bird of the desert Southwest, and they're an interesting bird in that they hunt in groups. So kind of like wolves, one bird would be, they like the saguaro cactuses, one would be on top of that cactus, and it would fly out and try to flush out a desert rat, and when that rat would take off, another one would be there laying in wait to capture the rat. And then they share the food. Same thing with nesting. If one of the females is nesting in the cactus, another one will come in and take over incubation duties while she stretches, goes out, hunts for herself for a little while. So she's a very vocal bird. She's got a fabulous tail. Let's see if she's got that open for us. And she's a pretty heavy bird. I would say she's probably weighs about as much as Ruby does. And so she likes bigger prey. She does rats, game. We feed her the venison, chicks. And she's just a pleasure to have, because you just don't see a bird like that around here.
I like how she answers everything that you
Yes,
say.
she does, don't you? You just answer.
No, they're a very social animal. And that's what makes. That's why falconers like them. Almost all the adventure movies you see, Indiana Jones and everything else, you will see a Harris hawk. If somebody has a falcon or a bird of prey, it's usually a Harris hawk, and you can detect that because of the. Don't point the finger at the tail. Leave my tail alone. You know, so you got that. Yeah. So she has that nice rump patch, white rump patch, and then the tail band on there, and then so yeah, you're a good girl. But yeah, I've been out hunting with these things, and they're just fun to be with, because they'll go to the highest perch, which usually is your head, and they'll sit on your head as they're hunting, and if they see something, they'll take off, and so they do form a hunting pair with the hunter. The hunter's job is to kick up the prey, and her job would be to go after the prey, and so. But but they do like to go out. They do like to be around people. They are a social animal. Yeah. Grr. 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 Yeah. I know, it's a really strange sound. So each week we'll have a different topic. Next week we're going to try to have Lana Lee out, and she's going to bring in the small birds that she takes care of. Lana and her husband Louis go out and rescue the smaller birds, the non-raptor birds. Well, sometimes Louis gets a raptor too. But anyway, so we're going to have her in. She's going to be talking about all the baby robins and the bluebirds and the blue jays and the mourning doves and all those birds that he takes care of. I think right now you still have some green herons, right?
We have a green heron with a broken leg.
Okay.
We have 5 mourning doves
5 mourning doves, 1 green heron,
and
A partridge in a pear
a
tree.
goldfinch.
and a goldfinch. Okay. But I think, how many bluebirds did you have this year?
4 or 5, but they've all fled.
Okay, so 4 or 5 bluebirds, and they're all out doing what they're supposed to do. Did the grackle ever leave?
Finally,
Finally, okay. Had a grackle that just couldn't stay, couldn't leave home. You know, I don't know how many times they put it out the door, and it just kept coming back. But so robins, mourning doves, all kinds of things that they take care of. So they take care of a high number of birds. I guess you've had what, hummingbirds?
we've rehabbed a few hummingbirds.
Okay.
Nighthawks.
Nighthawks, So we've had, so they take care of a lot of birds, and so Lana will be here next week to tell you some interesting stories about the birds and how she takes care of them, And, you know, and Louie will tell you tall tales about going out and doing rescues.
Louis has lots of tall tales.
Louie has lots of tall tales. Yeah. Some of them we can't do in the air. So anyways. So how are we doing for time? We done?
I can't see my watch.
Okay.
At 2:45?
Yep.
Okay.
So, anyways, we'll see you next week, and I'll try to come up with another topic besides having Lana here. I'll come up with a different topic, you know, besides birds smell, birds have teeth. What else do we got? We got a lot of other things that we can talk about, and anything that'll keep grouchy here. No.
Oh.
Look at her, him.
Keep him happy. You know, he's been a good bird.
Yep. He was a good helper today.
Good helper today. He didn't say much about anything.
No.
And so come on back to Huntertown. And again, go on our website. If you want to volunteer and help, you can sign up. Gigi will take your application and we'll get you trained and back out here. If you want to send us money, just, you know, we'll even take old wrinkled $50 bills. Anything like that, you know, just pop them in an envelope, send them to us. Or better yet, when you come to one of our presentations, we'll take them there. So this week, I guess Friday, we're going to be up at Chain Lake State Park in the evening, up at the let's see, what's it called? Sunny Beach, shelter. What?
Sunny shelter.
Sunny Shelter. The Sunny Shelter, and we'll be up there with some of our birds, so you can take a look at them. We have more things. We have a fundraiser on September 12th down there at the Ultra Zone laser tag place. You
Oh.
come make a donation, and you get to Soarin Hawk. You get free admission to go and zap your buddies. Let's see what else we
That's
got.
nice.
So that's going to be a nice one. We got the Huntertown Heritage Days coming up on September 12th also. So you'll see our nice fancy band there in the parade, and Nicole and Nancy will be throwing out candy to the kids. So yeah, and then sometime in the afternoon we'll be over there at the park and you know, doing a presentation with the birds. And so we have lots of things coming up. We have Memorial or Labor Day is coming up, and we'll be down at Limberlost down there in Geneva, and we'll be putting on a presentation there, and we'll have Jeff out. And so we have stuff coming up. Almost everything's going to be outdoors, you know, so you get lots of sunshine, lots of fresh air, and lots of social distancing. Okay, so anyways, see you next week, and we'll give you some more information about what we're doing and where we're going.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Grouchy. Okay.
All guys saying goodbye. And Cheyenne.
Good job, Papa.
And Skylar. And that bird Bob. And Chewy. Bye, everybody.
Bye.